Oh my gosh, I really should stop singing. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Paul Vallis filling in for Dan Proft today. I'm glad that you're here because at 8:38 we're going to talk about schools reopening and the Cape Crusaders' latest video. Yes, Lori Lightfoot, our astute mayor, and Dr. Awardi came out with another video.
Right.
And it just, why? Okay, now I'm going to have to play it. All right, real quick. It starts out with a dream sequence, similar to Film Pro 1 if you took Film Pro in college. She's sleeping on the couch. It's gray, blurry. Oh, what's happening? What's happening?
Thank God. Science is back, baby. And the earth is round, not flat.
Washing your hands does work. Social distancing does matter. And wearing a face covering does help protect all of us. I do love science.
Really no reason for this. The mayor tweeted out saying the new administration's COVID-19 task force ushers in a new day for science and evidence-based policymaking. As a city, we look forward to working together to ensure the health of all Chicagoans. You think after they dressed up as the Corona Busters that they would have learned a lesson, but...
Well, they clearly have someone advising them, and they want to build the image of the city around the mayor. So the mayor is kind of the city.
Who is advising them? Because they are bad advisors. Yeah. Because people want to know that their leaders are suffering like they are. And instead, they're enjoying this so much that it's making me sick. I mean, honestly, they had so much fun at 30 days before Halloween, dressing up and asking for federal funding while you're dressed up like that. Talking to President Trump the way you did, dressed up like that, like a Cape Crusader.
It's
nuts.
If they were following the science, schools, the kids would be in school right now, because basically the science is telling you that number one, kids, the virus is not a threat to children. Number two, young children are least likely to be contagious. And number three, it's not being transmitted to teachers. So you're doing, because what the science says reopen schools. Even in Europe where they've had a spike, Boris Johnson and others are saying the schools are open. What the research tells you, all the research, even the scientists at the CDC, even Fauci tells you that far more damage is being done by not having kids in school than will ever be done by COVID. And you see it in the increase in suicides, opioid addictions, kids getting shot on the street. I mean, murders, have they hit 700 yet? They're approaching 700. In November, the number of shootings were up 100%. Carjackings up like 200%. In the month of November.
Because kids aren't online learning.
That's right.
They're not. They're out on the streets.
They're not.
And then the 7-year-old girl, the first grader who was raped by her older cousin, who was a senior in high school, who also should have been in school, on Google Chat Meets, or on Google Meet. And 4 first graders saw him do this to her, along with the teacher. And it's horrifying. I mean, that is the most disgusting story. And no one talks about it. Parents don't know about it. I tell other CPS parents, like, oh, I didn't hear about that because it was so disgusting and it happened on a Friday. So not a lot of people pay attention because on the weekend they tend not to pay attention to the news.
Plus, only 1 in 6 Black and Latino parents can work from home remotely. That means they're either not going back to work, and when parents are not working, I mean, that's trauma. Or they're leaving their children home alone.
I know people.
So if you think we had a wide gap, that gap is only going to significantly widen. And when you consider what's happening with the schools, plus this blanket kind of hammer rather than scalpel approach as shutting down the economy, who gets hurt the most? Who's getting hurt in those service industries? The working poor. You know, the middle income, lower income individuals who can't do their jobs remotely. So they're suffering. So we're not only degrading the quality of the educational system for their children, but we're also hurting them economically. You know, if this had been part of some Chinese-Russian conspiracy to, in effect, degrade our economy, destroy the quality of our public education system, and build such debt that our debt now exceeds our gross national product, I'll tell you, kudos to them because
They did it.
they did it, or they got us to do it ourselves.
And aren't those Chinese students going to be competing against our students to get into universities?
So I'm not saying that there's
Because
a
we've dummied
conspiracy.
down. But this is going to be known as the dumb generation.
Yeah, exactly. And we did it all. It's all self-inflicted. It's all self-inflicted. So maybe the virus is having an effect on our judgment, because at the end of the day, we are causing far greater damage. And look, I had 2 administrative assistants who I worked in New Orleans after Katrina when I rebuilt the schools. Both got COVID seriously, and they had pre-existing conditions. One died. On the other hand, I had 2 sons that are first responders. They got COVID.
But we have better therapeutics now than we did in March.
We do.
That's why Chris Christie's fine. That's why President Trump survived. If those 2 got it in March, who knows if they would have survived it, or how severe the cases would have been.
The media wanted to talk about all the people in the Trump administration. And look, I wasn't a Trump supporter. I make no bones about it. But the media likes to. But it's about fairness and facts.
Yeah, they didn't cover Kevin Gutman.
That's right.
The governor of California, Kevin Newsom. He had people in his administration. They were all masked up.
That's
they
right.
had it. Kamala Harris, her team, people had it. Governor Pritzker, 2 of his people
They
have had
talked
it.
about all the people in the Trump administration. They like to say, "Oh, look, Meadows got it. Everybody got it." Has anyone died?
No.
I mean, Christie was 400 pounds. I mean, he gets the flu. You better
Right.
hospitalize him.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day,
and he went in as a
he did.
precaution because he was
went
worried
in as a
because
precaution.
he had a comorbidity.
That's
he
right.
is morbidly obese.
That's right. So it's like it's just an issue of fairness. But let's face it, Biden ran against COVID. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump
ran against COVID.
Trump ran against COVID. They strategically made this about COVID. And that's why he stayed in the cellar. That's why he wore the mask constantly. That became the excuse for everything. But when you consider, number one, that our economy, because of the shutdowns, is probably the worst economy we've had since the Great Depression. Number two, if you believe the media reports that say, well over 200,000 people have died, that's like 4 times the number that died during the Vietnam War. And number 3, clearly, Trump would make his own divisive statements, which only helped rally the opposition. The point is, he still got 72 million votes.
Right.
He still got 10 million votes more than Hillary Clinton. So at the end of the day, there were still individuals out there, a large 48%, 49% of the population that wanted. That did not see the Democrats as presenting an alternative.
And we have some new information this morning. The Secretary of State of Arizona is declaring that state has gone to Biden. But there's still, as you know, there's going to be ballots that are going to be hand counted in Georgia. There's still pending litigation in Pennsylvania. President Trump has to flip 3 of the 4 states in order to win. And a lot of people feel that this election has been stolen from President Trump. 2 of them are with us right now on the line, Ashley Ramos and Robert Cruz. They're organizers for Stop the Steal. It's a Jamber rally, nationwide movement. But tell us, because there's going to be a big rally here in the state of Illinois, where and when?
Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to hear from you again.
Yeah, good to have you. So, Ashley, do you want to talk about the details of what this is and why you're doing it?
Yes, ma'am. And first, before I do that, thank you for having an amazing Freedom Summit this year. I was there. The Win does a great job, guys, so you definitely need to come next year. As for this year, what we're doing in Springfield, we had our first one last weekend, and it was amazing. We had almost 400 people in the Capitol, and it was a great vibe, wonderful experience. And because we're on your show today, I'm sure we're going to triple that number. But this is about coming out and using your voice and stopping the steal of the votes from the president, and even from our state. There's some questionable things that have happened in Illinois. Illinois is known for it. So there's some questionable ballot harvesting and fraud that we're looking at even in our state. So this is important, and this is crucial, because every voice should matter. When you're using fraudulent vote techniques or taking a voice away from the people, it's like sticking duct tape on your mouth and saying that vote never mattered in the first place. So we want to advocate for not just our state, but for our entire country, that we need to stand up and be passionate and use our voices in the right way. Coming together like this in Springfield is a great way to show that we, like I said, support our president, and we also support our state. And Robert's going to get into that too. There's things in our state that we need to fix as well. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this and to be able to continue the momentum that we started from last weekend. And thank you to all the organizers across the country that are coming out. Robert's great.
Yeah, it's Saturday at noon at the Illinois State Capitol in Springfield. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And special shout out to MK Hill, too. She was out there last week and brought a bunch of people. It was awesome. But, yeah, Robert's definitely got more to say about it.
Yeah, Robert, can you talk about the fraudulent votes in Illinois and can you just give us some more details about this alleged behavior?
Well, sure. Well, thanks for having us on, Amy. Appreciate it. Teaming up with people like Ashley and Em and other organizers across the state to circle back real quick on Stop the Steal, was a national movement started by a friend of ours named Ali Alexander. They're doing a big march in D.C. In Illinois, it's more about irregularities. In DuPage County, there's allegations they wouldn't let poll watchers within 60 feet of the ballot counters. Not 6 feet, 60 feet. Ballots coming in later and how they're being counted, and ones maybe not that are being post-dated, and allegations of those kinds of things in different counties. I think Jim Oberweis is going through something like that right now. And what we're trying to do is create solutions. Propose to our legislators national mandates for voter ID requirements. They do it in Mexico, they do it in Canada, but we can't do it in the United States.
Yeah, that's true. So there's also a million mega march in Washington, D.C. Why not go there, combine forces this Saturday as well?
Well, it's the travel.
Well, we also need to create an opportunity for the people here in Illinois who can't, like Robert just said, can't make it there. So this is for those people who can't necessarily make it to D.C., but can maybe travel a couple of hours to get to Springfield. And we want to represent our state of Illinois. We have the opportunity to make changes, and we need to let people know that can happen here too. Most people are stuck in this mindset that Illinois will forever be blue, and it doesn't matter if you have more conservative values, your voice doesn't matter. We need to change that idea.
Okay, and where can we find out more information about this event?
You can go to Stop the Steal Jamber Rally. It's on Facebook. Eventbrite took all the sites down off of the main website, the national one. Yeah, Eventbrite canceled everything. But you can't cancel this because it's a movement, and we're talking about just fair elections, fair competition. Anyone who's ever played sports just wants a fair fight.
Yep.
That's it.
And don't change the rules during the game.
And they don't change the rules during the game. And then to speak about, in Illinois, there's also some things we also got to be excited about. I mean, we won the fair tax. We defeated Kilbride. I mean, these are major things that are going to be happening in our state that are going to help push the balance of fairness into the middle, as opposed to this left supermajority, what we say you do kind of thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashley Ramos, Robert Cruz, organizers for the Stop the Steal, a Jamber rally that takes place this Saturday at noon at the state capitol in Springfield. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks. And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy. This isn't the first crisis we faced together. Back in '08, business professionals in trouble sought help from bankruptcy attorneys, loan modification attorneys, foreclosure defense attorneys, and IRS attorneys trying to gain full financial recovery. They should have just called me. Let me tell you about Chuck. His small business crashed in the '08 crisis. He faced 2 foreclosures, overbearing creditors, and the dreaded IRS. Chuck would not even get out of bed in the morning. His wife heard me on the radio and convinced him to hire me. We got Chuck a loan modification and a short sale. We obtained a discharge of his debt and settled what was left of his IRS liability. Now Chuck is back in business and in control of his life. You can hear Chuck tell his own story at fullfinancialrecovery.com. We can get through this new crisis too. The time to start rebuilding is now. Don't let your life's work go down the drain. Get your free guide to recovery at fullfinancialrecovery.com. That's fullfinancialrecovery.com. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. There's no time to waste. Fight back now.
All right, if you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Today, meet Sven. 650, that was his credit score, living in a $400,000 home. After hearing thousands of Team Hochberg ads, Sven naturally contacted 3 lenders to refinance his 6% mortgage and pay off credit card debt, totaling $75,000, but nobody helped him. Sven then called Team Hochberg, which he should have done in the first place. Team Hochberg helped Sven cash out